Right? Okay, TPPA. So first thing first, I believe you all are economic students, right? So, which of you actually think that TPPA is good for the country? Raise your hand. None. Well, that's what. Which of you think that actually for him or her, they prefer if Malaysia did not join the TPPA? Raise your hand. Who, which of you don't know? You guys have no idea whether it's good or not. Raise your hand. The majority lah, I would say. So I guess that's why we are here today, because I've been to a few forums and talks of TPPA, and the majority always don't know. They don't know whether TPPA is good or not. They are confused, and there are too many things in the market, in the news, in the blogs, in the website, in the Facebook, in the social media. They are talking about so many things in so many perspectives. So we are here today just to share with you on the impact of TPP on economy issue. I'm not going to touch much on geopolitical issue, on whether the US, China, blah blah blah, but we're going to talk about what's going to happen to Malaysia if we join TPPA from economic perspective, and what's going to happen if we did not join TPPA from economic perspective. Okay. So one of the difference between TPPA and previous FTA is that first thing first, TPPA is a combination of FTA and IT. So basically, free trade agreement, okay, simple word, basically we cannot have discrimination between local company and international company. So basically, let's say, for local company, we have a excise duty of 10% for cars, example. But then for international company, we have an additional tax of 40%, and that cannot be allowed. But let's say if excise duty for both cars, local and domestic, is 40%, is that allowed? Is that allowed? It's allowed. Yes. Because basically, the most important thing is to be fair, local and domestic. So, okay. Okay. The second point is that it is also an international treaty. In other words, let's say we have a local investor, we have an international investor, and they wanted to invest in Malaysia. There must be no discrimination on that. In terms of rights, in terms of opportunities, it has to be fair. So these are the two conditions of TPPA. And for some reason, these are the ones that have been, I would say, politically manipulated to some extent to become, for the citizen to be wary of TPPA. Okay, actually, which of you believe free trade agreement is actually a good thing for the country?
That's pros and cons.
That's a pro and cons, that's correct. But we see some proponents of anti-TPPA were saying that, oh, actually we don't need TPPA because all this while we have been doing trade with the US, we have been doing trade with Canada. But actually, if we look, from 2005 to 2015, our trade activity growth between non-FTA partners and FTA partners, the difference is significant. Actually, even our export to the United States actually declined in the past 10 years without FTA. But for like Australia, New Zealand, Chile, China, Vietnam, it's very hard. So basically, from number, at least from the how much trade we are doing with one country, FTA actually plays a role, and that actually benefits our economy, because basically when they are demand, well, you have to remember economy is about, in a way, it's about business. We need to have demand, and Malaysia is a small open economy. We have only about like 30 million population. But how about China? They have like how many billion? 1.4 billion. Basically, 20% of whole population is in China. So if we are not selling, if we are just selling in Malaysia, we are not going to become a billionaire. We need to sell internationally to become a billionaire. So that's why the government has always been very keen of any FTA agreement, because basically so far it has been showing promise. in benefiting the country. Okay, so just some information. This the 2014 trade figures. Actually, our most important trading partners are China, 40.3%. But we are in deficit with China actually, because we are importing more compared to exporting more. I think you guys can see made in China everywhere, right? So, yeah. And then Japan 9.5%, US is around 9%, but I think last year has increased to around 11%. Most ASEAN is only around 27.89%, which is making, compared to EU, their intra trade is around 70 to 80%, or maybe 60%. That's much higher compared to our ASEAN intra trade partners, which is only around 30%. So basically, by looking at this, we can see that Malaysia does not have one trade partner. Our trading partner are globally. That's why it's not enough for us. Like some people are saying, oh, why we are going for TPP? Why we are not going for RCEP? RCEP is the FTA agreement with China and the other, like Taiwan, Korea. Yeah, we are also going for that. But at the same time, we are also going for TPPA because we are yet to have any trade agreement with this part of the region. Most of our trade agreement is among ASEAN, and then ASEAN namanya. Yeah, same like that. Okay, so basically currently Malaysia have around 13 FTA. These are the ones with ASEAN, China, Korea, Japan, India, Australia, New Zealand. And then these are the ones that we did bilateral with Japan, Pakistan, New Zealand, Chile, India, Australia, Turkey. So actually our neighbor, Indonesia, recently they have been giving hints that they are feeling losing out to us. Because Indonesia, their bilateral FTA only two. They have only two. And that's why they are feeling that, and then we are joining TPPA and they are not joining TPPA. That's why not long after TPPA has been agreed, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Taiwan, all of them are saying that they are interested to join. Because they know if they do not join, they are going to lose out. Why? I'm going to tell later. Okay, so basically, and then some of the people in the social media have been saying that, oh, TPP is an US agenda. First, we have to know that US is not the pioneer. The pioneer are these four countries, Brunei, Chile, Singapore, and New Zealand. And only after that, US, Australia, Peru, and Vietnam joined in. And then Malaysia seized the opportunity, and which decided to join. And then Mexico and Canada, and even Japan. And of course, there are, I think, around 5 or 6 more countries which have been saying they are interested to join the PPA. All of this combined altogether to 800 million population. Okay, so in general, these are the pros and cons of the PPA. Firstly, we are going to have an additional FTA agreement with 4 countries, which is Canada, Mexico, Peru, and United States. Transparency. I think, I don't know, maybe as a teenager or as a youngster who always operate in social media, we always hear about transparency issue with the government, right? So believe it or not, TPPA is one of the ways to push the government to be transparent. Why? Anyone have any idea why? Because basically, in TPPA, any tender, any project, up to a certain limit, they need to make an open tender. When they make an open tender, so basically anyone can join, and they will give proposal, and the government will have to choose the best of them, either the cheapest price or the best quality or whatever lah. So, in the event that it seems that let's say there are 5 companies join, and then the government choose company A, and then company B said that I think our proposal is better than them, and then they can sue the government. They can fight in the court, claiming that there may be some backdoor negotiation happening. It can happen. So that's why under TPPA, our transparency issue is no more a local issue. It will become an international issue. So that's why, by hook by crook, whether the government wants it or not, they need to be transparent. So the issue of whatever the chronism, the issue of whatever lah, will be reduced under TPPA. So thirdly, environmental protection. Do you guys know about the bauxite issue? Bauxite.
Yes.
Believe it or not, if under TPPA, the bauxite issue will not be happening. Why? Because basically, of course, one is that under TPPA there will be environmental protection agreement, and of course that will make they will make easy for any whether the government or other companies to sue other companies which are making environmental pollution. So let's say whether it be someone related in higher ups, or whether it be the government or even the GLC, as long as they are making a pollution that is affecting other companies, they can be sued. So under TPPA, believe it or not, the bauxite issue should most probably will not be happening. Okay, and the fourth one, usually when people are talking about the ban of TPPA, we are talking in the sense that our petani will be going out of business, or maybe our companies will not be able to compete. The problem is most of the people who are saying that are customers, consumers. They are not entrepreneurs, they are not businessmen. So I'm wondering why people are speaking on behalf of other people. You understand that?
Yeah.
For example, let's say, then if I'm talking about that, then why we are not saying, why we are not encouraging people to encouraging the business to increase the price? It will be profitable for them, but it will lose to us. Actually, it's like that. In TPPA, actually, supposedly, we will have cheaper imported products. That's one. And secondly, we will have a more variety of products. So supposedly, under TPPA, as a consumer, we are going to benefit. The ones that will lose out are the millionaires, the billionaires who are having business in Malaysia. They may lose out, but not for us. So, as a consumer, supposedly we are taking interest of ourselves compared to the interest of the businessman. But then, of course, there are a few cons which we highlighted here. First one is the policy limitation. Of course, the government will have to, and just like Ms. Morel said just now, that we have a few years, actually until 2018, for the implementation. Because basically we have to adjust some policies to suit the need of TPPA. So of course, when we have to adjust the policy, so in other words, there are some limitation in our policy. But then again, most of the policies are good economically, I would say. To a certain extent, of course, there are pros and cons. But then again, of course, I would consider that as a cons because it is a limitation. And secondly, digital copyrights. Which of you love to download from torrent, from internet, and then you pay maybe a result because it will become actually personally this is the result.